So I was driving like 70 miles per hour now, and all of a sudden I was saying some bro.
Honestly, if I was the examiner, I'd just say,
The examiner was just here.
Everybody.
Welcome to the Sam and Ray podcast. Hi guys, welcome back again to episode 2 of the Sam and Ray podcast.
Woohoo!
Hey, yeah, we're glad that you guys have joined this episode to see what we got for you. So today we are gonna be, delving into a topic that is quite important, for
And interesting.
Interesting for people that have actually come of age,
Of course.
because you have to be of age to be able to, indulge in this activity.
But most of our listeners are also quite in the young adult,
yeah.
so the 50s age type of thing. So
it's quite relevant for them. Yeah.
Before we delve into that, I hope you all enjoyed the last episode. I hope you all enjoyed listening to it. As usual, just give us your feedback, and we'll be in the comments as always.
I know a lot of people enjoyed it actually.
Yeah. Cool.
Right. So today we'll be talking about driving in the UK. Yeah, I know it sounds okay. What about driving in the UK? But trust me, you want to know all the information that we have for you guys on driving in the UK.
Yeah.
So, coming from a different background, one of the culture shocks moving into the UK was the way they drive. So, from Ghana, we drive on the right hand side, and then in the UK they drive on the left hand side, whichever it is. I'm not sure what it is, but we drive on the opposite sides of the road. So
it can be really confusing. Yeah,
even walking on the road, if you don't look at the right places, you might get jammed by a car, bro.
That thing happened to me very well. Like when you're fresh and new in the country, like this, you'll be like, okay, what side of the road is the car coming from? Like, where should I be looking?
I know, right?
But then I just used to look like both ways. It was so funny. But
So we're going to be talking about all of that. So to begin with, in the UK, like we said, they drive on the right hand side of the road. So where even the car, where the the steering and then your brake and everything is on the other side, and I'm sure everybody knows about that. But in the UK as well, to be able to drive legally in the UK, you need to have a full driver's license. But there are two types of driver's license. We have the provisional driver's license, and then we have the
full one.
The full driver's license. I don't know why they have two, but I think it's a route to get.
Yeah, I mean you have to get the first one first. You have to get the provisional first before you get the full one.
The full one, yeah.
So,
yeah. So with the provisional one, you can actually drive, but
here's the thing. Now, there was something you said about for you to legally drive in the UK.
Yeah.
I just want to correct that a bit. For you to continue to legally drive, because actually in your first year, you can use an international license to drive for the first year. People tend to think you can renew it, but I don't think that is true. Like, it's only valid for your first year in the country. Now, for you to continue to, if you get your normal UK license, great. But for you to continue to drive, you do need to have that UK full license, either either automatic or manual. But you need to have, the pink one, for you to.
What color is the provisional?
It's green.
Yeah,
the provisional one is green. So you need the provisional, and then
later on you get the full one.
Driving with the provisional is only allowed if you are with someone that's got 3 years on their full license. So in that case, you're like a learner, even if you're experienced, but you're seen as like a learner. You can't drive unsupervised. Long story short. So some people also tend to think you can drive with it. No, you can't.
Yeah. So that's with the provisional driver's license. Okay, so how do we get a provisional license? I know you can apply online.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just Google how to get a provisional license.
Go to gov.uk, the details are there.
Yeah, you just pay some about £34, and then they just take your details, and then they'll post
it to you,
the provisional license to
it takes a couple of days or like 2 weeks or something, but it's pretty easy to get. So the details are on gov.uk. That's pretty easy to do, and there are some benefits to it. Like I've seen a lot of people moving around with their BRP, or they don't have a means of ID, but this provisional license actually serves as a means of ID that you can take any and everywhere.
Yeah, actually, these what's the name of the scooter thing?
Yeah, yeah.
The e-bikes. So they have e-bikes and scooters around. So on the apps, they actually ask you for a driver's license.
Yeah.
And I used my provisional driver's license, and it was actually
accepted.
Accepted. So you can use your provisional license for those ones.
Yeah. Now, after you get your provisional license, what next? Let's move into the theory test.
Oh, yeah. So you have to do. There are two types of tests that you do to get a full driver's license. So there's the theory test, and then there's the practical test. So with the theory test,
I know what's making you say, Did you pass your theory test on the first go?
Guys, I did not pass my theory test on the first time. But yeah, I'm here to give you all the details. So the theory test comes in two parts, if I'm right.
Yeah.
So there's the normal questions with options.
Multi-choice questions.
And then there's the hazard perception test.
And that is where a lot of people miss it. A lot of people don't know.
That is the most important.
It's like half an hour, but if you don't do it at all, bro, you fail the test. Because you need to meet a certain pass mark, and a lot of people don't know. They just think you just have to.
So I was aware of the test, but I didn't know how vital that part of the test was, and the tricks to be able to pass the test. Because if you don't know the instructions to go around that test, you just be clicking anyhow, and then you be getting everything wrong. So and I've met people that didn't actually know about that part of the test, and until they got to the test center to take the test, and then they failed. So that part of the test, you need to be aware and very well prepared
how to pass it. And if it helps, I use the Theory 4-in-1 app. It's actually widely used.
Yes.
By a lot of people.
It's recommended by the gov.uk site.
Yeah, and it's £5, and you can do practice tests for the multi-choice part and the hazard perception part. So try it as much as possible. Make sure you are always above the pass mark. At least do it 2 or 3 times. Make sure you're confident, and a lot of people usually pass the test when they practice properly, and you go for the test. So
make sure you're on time for your tests.
No.
Some people take shift on the day of their test. Don't take shift.
Honestly, anything worth doing is worth doing well. Just do it once. Again,
just make sure you're free on that day. And then you make time for the test.
And also you need your provisional license when you're going for the test, right? You need to show your provisional license. So before you even take any tests for your driving, whatever, to get your full license, you need to actually have the provisional license,
right.
And then you take the theory test.
True.
Now, after the theory test, what comes next?
The practical test. So, if you have driving experience, and you are confident on the road, because like we said, if you have the provisional driver's license, you can drive with someone who has a 3-year experience on their full driver's license. So if you have driven around a few times and you're confident on the road, you can go straight forward for the practical test.
I wouldn't advise that though.
But
honestly,
you need to. I wouldn't say you need.
It's advisable.
It's advised that
you do some lessons.
You have some lessons with a professional driving instructor.
Key on professional, like someone that yes, this is what they do.
Yeah.
Why? Because they know these examiners. They've been there with people, to go and take the test. They know how the actual practical test goes.
Yeah.
In fact, some of them are so good that they have kind of like the examiner's sheet, and then they do mock tests for you as well.
Some of them are actually former
examiners even. So it's always good. I know that it's expensive and we're trying to save money. If I tell you how much I spent getting this thing there,
what would you say the minimal amount of driving test you take with an instructor should be?
It depends on your your confidence and your experience. Some people literally did maybe just one lesson, some 2, some 5. I think I did like close to 7. I don't know, a total of about 15 hours, including my driving test. Yeah. And I used to do about an hour and a half for each lesson. So I'll say maybe like I did like 7 lessons spread over like 2 months. So I think I've read it before on the gov.uk website as well, that if you're like fresh, you don't have any experience at all, you need about 45 hours. But again, this all still boils down to your confidence and your ability to drive. Even people that were driving back home or can feel like they can drive, there's a lot of unlearning you need to do. Leave it at Murtala Mohammed Airport. I'll come and relearn. Yeah. So there's a lot of unlearning and relearning you need to do. A lot of patience as well. Yes. I'll say. So it's like me. It took. I did about 15 hours.
I don't remember how many, because I think I did mine over like 3 months, but there was a lot of like gaps. I was always giving excuses like I'm not available or something. So probably like 7 to 10, between 7 and 10 lessons.
Yeah. So how was a driving instructor like?
My driving instructor, I'll save the good part for the last. But when I got introduced to my driving instructor, he told me he was a former examiner, and so he had experience of taking people on the actual practical test. Okay. So he's going to give me all the juice. Yeah. So I was very confident about my driving instructor. He always came on time.
Did he?
An hour. How long was the test? An hour, yeah. I think an hour.
Okay.
Every week. So that was my driving.
Okay, we'll save this story for later, but there is more to that story.
There's more to the story. We'll release it in bits.
Okay. For me, when I had my initial driving instructor, I actually like prepared for 10 hours because I felt like, I have had experience driving, so like I felt like 10 hours was enough. I did do a bit of research, ask people around as well, but I was always open to doing more if needed. But before my first lesson, this guy was literally already asking me questions like, oh, what was your experience? Have you driven in the UK? And I was like, oh, I don't think 10 hours would be enough. You need to pay for extra 10 hours. 20. I'm like, we've not even met. We've not even done anything. And I was saying I should come and pay extra 10 hours. Do you even know what it took me to pay those first 10 hours? Because I didn't actually like pay directly. I went through like an agency. There's a lot backstory, which was my fault. So I paid more than the usual person would, to be honest. But part of that was also because I wanted like weekend lessons and late evening lessons. So I paid a fortune. Like I paid a lot more than the normal rate. So I was like, please, I don't want like, if this is how you're gonna be, like, you've not even assessed me. Okay, so what if I now pay the extra 10 hours, 20 hours, and 15 hours is done, and I'm okay? Like, you now force me. I just wasn't weren't vibing. Let me just say that. So I went back to the agents and I told them, bro, I'm having issues with this instructor. Like, can you change it for me? I don't want. And then they gave me another instructor, which was great. I really liked my instructor. He was really good. Always on time. He would always text me, I'm outside. I got me him. We go for our lessons. Fortunately for me as well, it was in the summer. I would advise doing your lessons in the summer because it's brighter. That's true, actually. You know,
and the roads are
the roads are much more clear and it's just better really compared to like in the winter time where everywhere is cold. God help you, you know, the car you're using has good heating. Everywhere, and it's raining. It's maybe icy and it gets dark early. So if you want to do your lessons in the evening, like I did,
you don't want your instructor to tell you to put on your fog lights.
Yeah, like you want to really honestly, you want to really see the road very well, see all the signs, all the sidewalks and everything. So I personally would, you know, recommend around the summertime is the best time to do your lessons.
So you what type of driving license did you go for? I know you went for like automatic.
I don't have time for manual. I've never driven manual.
I did a manual,
which is the best because with the manual one you can drive both automatic and manual. But with the automatic one you can only drive automatic. If I want to drive a manual car, I would need to do the test again and then get the manual one. But I don't see myself driving manual anytime soon. So
I like manual cars. So
I've never even driven manual. So great.
Anyway,
let's talk about the eye test drama.
Oh yeah.
When I found out that you needed to be able to read on your practical test day, one thing to note, like the very first thing, safe, like once you get to the place and then they come out, oh Rachel, the very first thing they'll ask, they'll take you somewhere and say, oh yeah, read that plate number. If you can't read the first one, they'll give you a second one. I think they'll bring you closer. If you can't read the second one, they'll go and carry tape or whatever and make sure it's the right.
I think it's what 20 meters.
Yeah. And then they'll tell you to read the third one. If you cannot read it, oh buddy, your test is over. Like legit, like it's actually over. So you need to be able to read a plate number 20 meters away. Now, when I did my very first lesson with my instructor, he actually did tell me to do that. And then I was struggling a bit. I think I missed one word. I think I called a C, a G or something. So, and I sometimes wear glasses. So I just made up my mind that, bro, I'm going to be wearing my glasses all through the lessons and the tests.
Which is good.
Yeah. And it was like, if I'm wearing it for my lessons, then, you know, it just makes sense to wear it for my test as well.
You have to stick with it.
Yeah. So I stuck with it throughout. I don't usually wear my glasses, but I had to just bear it. Like, I even wanted to fix false lashes, but I was like, I want to see very well. So I delayed fixing my false lashes, like, you know, all those semi-permanent lashes until I passed my test. So I was wearing my glasses always. And yeah, I was literally a few days before my test, I was actually going outside and trying to count with my legs, like
the 20
meters kind of thing, and trying to read it with my glasses on to make sure that yes, because if you fail it, that's
the first thing. Like, you can't feel that, because if you fail that, you can't even sit in the car to drive. So you have to make sure that your eyes, your health, everything is in good condition before you get to the test center.
Let's talk about the test day jitters. Speaking about the test day, what happened on your test day?
My test day was like a movie. It was like a movie. I remember that so clearly now. It's crazy. So, I had my test in the afternoon. So, I called my driving instructor, and then he told me that his car his car had a problem, so he had to take it somewhere to get some parts for them to fix it, and he probably cannot make it to the test center with me, bro. This is somebody I've been training, I've been driving, and I was supposed to do the test with his car. So when I realized that, I just had to call a friend, and then he was also not around. So I called my cousin. He had a manual car, and then but the car was not in
the best shape,
in the best condition to be able to pass the practical test. So if you are going with your own car, your car needs to pass some particular criteria.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it wasn't in the best condition. It actually did pass, but when you look at the car, like you didn't prepare the car for it,
True.
But fortunately for you, he wasn't having any issues. There were no, first of all, if you have like warning signs on your dash, like I don't think they will allow you to do the test.
Yeah.
So fortunately for you, it was all of that. There was no issue. Your tire treads, everything was okay.
You need to check your tire.
All those things, because they will actually open. I mean, there's a lot to the practical test. They will open the bonnet. They will ask you to identify something, blah blah blah, and all those things. So
basically, your cars need to be safe.
Needs to be safe
for driving.
Yeah, exactly.
Before you can use it for.
Yeah, and you also need to have the L plates.
You need to get the L plates,
if possible, the mirror as well.
Yeah. But that was provided for me. It was provided at the test center by the instructor.
Yeah.
So I went to the shop quickly. I went to get the
that day no
L
funny at all.
plates, and then also because of some maneuvers, the reversing maneuvers, I got some
blind spot mirror.
Blind spot mirrors.
Very good.
Yeah. So those actually helped me very much in doing the driving test. So actually my cousin, like he accompanied me to the test center
again because he couldn't go alone.
And if you have experience driving manual cars, like two manual cars are not, they don't have the same feel. So like the clutch, some clutches are high, some clutches are low. So immediately I got to his place, I just took the car out for like a test for like some 30 minutes to familiarize myself with the car. And then off we went to the test center. So I drove to the test center and then just calm myself down. So once you get to the test center, if you are going with your car, once it's time, you go in and then you park your car. There's a designated parking for those who are coming to do your test. And then when it's time, the instructors will come out and then they'll sit in the car,
look around the car,
everything.
They would ask you questions.
So honestly, that day was so uncomfortable for me. I was so scared. I was like, yo, what's going on? I've practiced with this guy for 3 months too,
and all of a sudden, like how many hours?
On the day of the test, the guy bailed out on me.
How many hours the test? Like God.
So that
God
was my experience, but just to cut the story short, I was able to pass my test on that day. I was like really, really glad.
Honestly. Anyway, so let's talk about some road etiquettes you've experienced since driving in the UK. What are some funny signs, the way that people drive? Is this safer than our country?
It's way safer. I think that's what they teach you to drive here. How they teach you to drive here: drive safe. Like I've forgotten the term for it. Is it legal? Yeah, safe. Be a defensive driver. So make sure you're in a position where even if somebody's in the wrong, you don't get affected. Like visibility, you need to be checking your mirrors. That's the most important thing. If I'll tell you to, like, if I'm supposed to tell you one thing before you go into a driving test, is to check your mirrors. Is it always check your mirrors?
I think the most important word here is actually safe. When you're doing your lessons, even your tests, pull over when it's safe to do so. Do this when it's safe to do so. Do that when it's safe to do so. All these things is important to very, very important.
Number one thing is safety.
I don't know if you've seen all those TikTok videos about driving tests that you do like this.
Your neck.
Your neck will break. You have to. You have to check your mirrors. You have to. Even till today, I mean, I don't do it 100% of the time. But if you want to like pull out, you're going somewhere, you're reversing, whatever, just do your 180-degree check. you don't know if a kid could be running around or I don't know, but it's just make sure it's very safe.
Yeah, it's very very important, because those checks that we don't do are like more than 70% of the causes of like accidents on like our roads.
And you know the funniest thing that happened to me after I passed my driving test was, I knew, but it was so funny to me. When you pass, you can't. I mean, your own case was different, right? You had passed, and you insured. Another thing, you had to insure yourself to drive the car on that day. So with me and my driving instructor,
that's true.
Yeah. So with me and my driving instructor, the way he's done his insurance, learners are insured to drive his car.
Yeah.
So passing the test meant I was no longer a learner, and so I couldn't drive his car home, like back to my house after I finished the test, because I was no longer a learner. They collected my provisional license. They will collect your provisional license and then post the full one to you. And he's basically not like, I'm not insured to drive his car in that scenario, because I am now a full driver,
so
whatever.
Insured, you're not legal.
So it was so funny that like he had to drive me. I was even happy safe. I just sat down like this. I put the chair back like that. Multi-pass. But like again, that's talking about, doing things safely and just following the rules. The fact that I can now drive somebody's car that I've been driving since, the fact that I can now drive doesn't now mean I should now drive the car home. Like, I still needed to follow the rules, make sure, because if police catch you,
yeah. I mean, like, it's a long process to getting your driver's license. Like, when I finally got that paper that says,
that's your certificate.
Yeah, on my way home, I was so happy. Like, it's been how many months? Over almost like 6 months.
Booking the practical test.
Even for my theory, it would have been like over a year. The distance of trying to get like a full driver's license. Because for my provisional license, I had to book a theory test. We took some months training and everything. Then when I booked my practical test, it also took months for me to get room.
That practical test is
to
worse.
Get the practical test.
Months for you to get.
So you don't want to fail.
You don't even want
your driving test.
You don't even want to.
Because when you fail, you have to book another one, which is going to take months for you to get the availability.
So the final thing I wanted to talk about this practical test is, was there any time during your practical test that you felt, I don't fail this test?
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember there was a point where I got to like a roundabout, because in this country the roundabouts, there are plenty around. Like every 100 meters there's a roundabout. But I think I slowed down, and I think I was on a higher gear instead of going to a lower gear. So it took a bit of time for the car to like move off again.
Fantastic.
And then there were cars behind me. There were cars behind. So in my mind, but what I'll say is, when you're doing your practical test, confidence.
100%.
You need to be, your confidence needs to be
1,000,000%.
Because one other thing that happened was, like I explained earlier, the car. So the car started making some funny noise when we were on the express. So I was driving like 70 miles per hour now, and all of a sudden I was saying some bro.
Honestly, if I was the examiner, I'd just say,
the examiner was just here.
But
my left eye, I was doing that. The examiner was a bit concerned, but I was.
You're like,
focused. I was in my mind. I was like, this test is not about the car. It's not an MOT test. It's a driving test. Let me just focus on the driving, and the car was still making that noise for like the next like 3 minutes.
Wow.
I know, right? And then we got to the test center. You came back to the test center, and then funny enough, when we were going back, the noise stopped. Honestly, that day I don't know which demons.
Honestly, kudos to you. I think what really helped you was your confidence. Like, it's like nothing's gonna stop me. Like,
I know, right?
A lot was thrown at you. First of all, your instructor didn't even show up, and you're like, okay, so what car am I gonna use? Okay, I recall you were asking him to even come, that you would use another person's car, but he just did not show up, and it was like, first of all, for me, half of my confidence gone. Like, honestly, you have the option to let your instructor be in the car with you or not.
Yeah.
I think I actually allowed my instructor, but I didn't even remember that he was at the back. Like, I was so focused on the test. But like, that is enough to even make you lose some confidence. Like, the whole just 3 hours to your test, and it seems like everything is just falling apart. But that confidence is what will get you going. So what I just want to say about that part was why I asked, sometimes you might just do something and you feel like, oh more, I don't feel this test too, but honestly, just keep going. Just keep going. You really don't know.
There was a point, because also at that point when the noise was happening in the car, I was in my mind, I was like, is something wrong? Should I park the car so that we check? What if the car blows up? But I was so focused. I was like, no, I'm getting this.
I'm getting to the destination.
So I just kept on driving, and the driving instructor also didn't mention, and he didn't say anything at all. The noise was loud though, but like he didn't say anything. He just looked at me.
I guess because he didn't see any warning signs on the dashboard. The car, the tires were okay, everything, all the fluids, everything was all there. Generally, all these cars they can embarrass you. That's one noise from God knows where will just start and then stop, So it was, I think you had a really good examiner. Like God sent the examiner, honestly. And despite all the issues that happened, so that was good. Anyway, so now, since then, have you started driving? Let's talk about insurance. Insurance has not been so.
I don't want to talk about.
Hey, good.
Those people safe.
My insurance was about 1,002 for crazy. A year. It's actually quite. So we're getting insurance when you pass your test. You're like, woo, you want to start driving? More. This one is not that. It's not like Nigeria that you can find this around. This one, like you have to get. I mean, there are people that drive without insurance, but I don't advise it.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, if they catch you, you're on your own.
That's the thing.
So now, you just need to make sure you've got your insurance. I mean, the minimum is third party, but you want to do comprehensive insurance. In fact, in addition to getting the insurance, if you can, also get a dash cam. That would help you so much. And when you're getting your insurance, it's advisable you compare the market, confused.com, try to get different rates, try to look for rates like a month. I think the highest you can do is a month anyway, but a month in advance. That way you get lower rates compared to if you wanted your insurance to start like the next day. Things like where you park your car at night, the kind of job you do, your experience. There's something called no claims bonus. Basically, if you've not done any insurance claim, if you have security device, if you have like a dash cam. In fact, there's something called a black box that if you add it to your car, they would give you. It also lowers your rate. That kind of like tracks your driving. So if you're like driving really well, it keeps that insurance cost low for you. But if it's like a tracker kind of, if they see that this one's driving is bad, your insurance now go higher next time. But yeah, lots of factors go into and your years of driving as well. So lots of factors go into the insurance. I think my rate was fairly good, 1,002, but over time it reduces the longer you have the experience and everything. It reduces. So I think the second time that I renewed, it was actually lesser. But yeah.
So like as she said, for like a first time driver, the cost of your insurance is actually will be the highest. So for me, I was told by someone that about 70% of drivers in the UK don't actually drive insured.
Wow.
So I decided to drive uninsured for
some time.
And then I got a letter from
two different letters, was it?
Yeah, from some security departments that my car was seen driving without insurance.
Honestly, camera is plenty.
So I need to be on insurance, and it gave me reasons why I have to be on insurance, and that it is actually criminal to not drive without insurance. So if you've heard anywhere that you can't drive without insurance, you might sooner or later be contacted by
someone,
the authorities, to get insurance.
I think the one thing I like about this country is they give you enough warnings.
Yeah.
Like, one, you know that you should be insured. But yes, it's expensive. You want to, how many times do police stop you? It's not like Nigeria where, they always have all these unnecessary roadblocks and stuff and they stop you. Here, you don't. Since I've been driving, nobody has stopped me. You feel like you can escape it. Yeah. But like in his case, they actually sent him, was it email or letter to say, hey, we've seen you and you don't have insurance, so make sure you get an insurance. Yeah. That is a warning. So if you now continue and say, well, Lemumi, and you continue, the day they will catch you.
You don't want to ignore that.
So they have enough proof that they've actually warned you. Yeah. And I think that was really, really good, like, for them to do that, still reminding you, because apparently some people also forget to renew their insurance, So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. So guys, make sure you're driving insured, because it's for your own safety.
It's for your own good. Mm-hmm.
In case anything, I know, we are taught to drive safely. You want to take your chances and be on the road without insurance, but yeah,
okay,
it is what it is.
So what are some issues you've experienced with driving since you started driving? For me, number one thing is parking. I've always said it even before I started driving, before I got my car, that this parking last song. The UK is so small, the roads are small. Mm-hmm. Lots of houses don't even have allocated parking. Yeah. You want to go out and you're so worried, where would I park? You pay to park here, gone. Unlike the US, God, you pay. You park in this place, pay. You want to go somewhere. So you need to plan your journey very well. And then the spaces are always so small. Most times you find yourself doing parallel parking. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the problems you've experienced?
Problems driving the UK? I mean, not much. I think driving the UK is quite safe. I enjoy the Rosa Express. So apart from the parking, as she said, there's not really much any issues. It's quite it's quite expensive. I don't want to use the word expensive, but when you consider because you have to consider your servicing of your car, your MOT,
tax as well.
MOT is yearly, right?
Yeah.
Your yearly MOT, your yearly or monthly taxes for the car that you drive, and then your insurance.
Yeah.
And then
your general servicing.
Miscellaneous, you are driving the car, anything can happen to your car. So generally, because in the UK we have a good transport system, but it depends on where you are in the UK.
Yeah.
So you need to consider do you need a car? If you need a car, absolutely you can go for it. But if you don't need it, it's a liability. So and it's quite expensive.
Yeah, because you need to make sure your car is also safe to drive. For example, your tires are that in there. You even cram it during your theory test, because it's one of the questions. No, I think it's for practical test. There's a show me, tell me that was the tread depth one of your tire. So it's already you already know about it. So you need to make sure your tires meet the minimum standard. Mm-hmm. Make sure all your fuel, all your liquids, everything, blah 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 blah. So make sure your car is also safe to drive. And stuff. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, like you said, we have a really good transport system. So if you feel like, you are okay, then great. But it's really, there are also some positives to driving, like me now, for example. I remember 2 years ago, I was running to catch the bus and I fell. And I said, God, from my mouth to your ears, pay me on your remote too, you know. But yeah, it was a terrible experience that day. And apparently the bus I was running to catch was the one before I was meant to take, but it was delayed. So I was strolling out.
If you're in London where buses move like every 5 minutes, every 2 minutes, that would have been a problem.
Again,
but where we are now, buses come like 30 minutes, an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're always trying to catch that particular bus. If you miss that bus, then...
Yeah. So that day, I just came out. I was like, I had a few minutes to walk down to the bus stop. And next thing, the bus is coming. I started running. I fell in. I literally bled on my knees. That day was really painful. I said, God, Lagos babe. I'm on the ship that I used to enter the bus. I just entered like a gentle girl. The driver never tell me sorry. I'm pretty sure he saw me. I just entered. I sat down. I
be lucky they let you enter, because there are some bus drivers here. They are so wicked. Once you are not there and they are moving up. They don't care if you can stand at the door and be banging the door. They will not open it for you.
They'll go.
So yeah.
But another thing it has really taught me driving. I always say this thing that I feel like I didn't see a lot of roads. Maybe it has changed now, but I didn't see a lot of like all those road signs and all those road rules, and so I didn't really know about a lot of it in Nigeria. But here, you know, you see the pedestrian crossing, all the signs. You're aware. You know what is for, and it teaches me patience, because Nigeria
everybody's going as they please.
It's a me first type of driving mentality in Nigeria. It's like you know go enter you know that kind of thing. But yeah, one thing that always blows my mind is if there's like,
in fact, the road is the last users of the road are the drivers. The primary users are the pedestrians, cyclists, and then the last person is the driver. So
if you hit cyclists,
the person walking on the road has more priority. Bro, the person driving, the person riding the bike has more priority. So
if you see pedestrians, you have to wait for the. So, and this is the funny thing, in the EU, some other countries I've been to, that pedestrian crossing is until you put your leg that the cars will stop, which is so funny. Like, I was like, we don't do this in the UK. What is it? Like in the UK,
once they see you, even if you are coming from hazard perception.
See, before you even get to as a driver, if I see somebody close to the pedestrian this thing, before they even get there, I would assume that they want to use it, and I would have already stopped. And then, but all these other EU countries.
I think it's general. There's so many times where I've just been walking by
and people will stop.
And then they'll stop because they're assuming that you want to cross. So until you've passed by, before they will move. And
until you finish crossing the tunnel, not that if you've passed my side. Until you finish crossing like this, before the cars will move. I mean, generally, that's how it should be. And, knowing about the different crossing, all the ones with the traffic lights, roundabouts. Oh my God, I still can't get the hang of those roundabouts sometimes. Different layouts.
There are some crazy roundabouts. Roundabouts with like 6-7 exits.
Bro,
and roundabouts with traffic lights and like 5-4 lanes.
Those roundabouts with traffic light there. Oh God, you not even know. It should just be there like this. Like. But yeah, driving is fun here. It's fun, it's nice. Some people are really nice and polite. The cabs. The cabbies. Those ones, they're like Lagosian drivers. Yeah. But like, generally, like what I was going to say earlier was, I don't know if you've noticed, but when there's like slow moving traffic, and somebody wants to like come into the main road, like they always give people way, like you go, then I go, then you go, then I go, one after the other. Like people just know, everybody's so civilized, and they just know that like let's keep everything moving, which is really good compared to Nigeria. That the downfall honestly, it will lower your blood pressure. That Nigeria, you can have high blood pressure when you're driving. but here, like it's really enjoyable, really nice. I'm not gonna lie.
One more thing I want to add is like they also say like anytime you're driving, you're going now, always plan your
journey.
It's very important because you never know how, because the road layout is different it's not like different as in
the way it looks, but
you need to have an idea about how your route is before you move, because if you don't have an idea, or you need to be at least like familiar with it, so that you prepare yourself for the trip.
Yeah, you're right. Like Cornwall, if I had known that you had a lot of hills,
you need to have an idea about your road.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that wraps up our episode for today. I hope it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, there's a lot of information there.
Yeah, it's good to reminisce on the days we're struggling to get this thing. Anyway, so to wrap up this episode, we have a question for you guys. Or rather, we want you to share your funniest or most embarrassing driving stories. If you've been driving in the country for quite a while now, please share in the comment section, either on YouTube or Instagram or wherever you see this. Share your funniest and most embarrassing stories. We want to hear about it. Yeah, please continue to listen to our episode, subscribe, and share. And I hope you enjoyed the episode as much as I did.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.